Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into Paulo Narciso's guide on a topic that's on everyone's mind, generative AI in education. We're going to lay out a clear path for parents and teachers trying to figure out this powerful new tech.
So let's just dive right in with a great analogy the author uses. He talks about being in his trigonometry class and the huge debate over calculators. I mean, can you imagine? A tool that was once super controversial is now just normal. And that's really the perfect way to look at this. AI might feel like a huge deal now, but it's not the first game-changing tech to hit the classroom, and you can bet it won't be the last.
All right, so if we're going to make the most of this thing, we've got to start with the basics. What is it, really? Let's get to know our new AI partner in the classroom. Okay, the key word you really need to latch onto here is generative. Think about it this way. A search engine is like a librarian. It finds books that already exist. But generative AI is like an author. It can write a new book. It's learned from tons and tons of data, so it can create totally unique text, come up with solutions, or even just riff on some ideas with you. That makes it a completely different beast as an educational tool.
And this is where it gets tricky, right? You've got this delicate balancing act. On one side, the potential is just mind-blowing. I mean, imagine a personal tutor for every kid, ready to go 24/7. But on the other side, you have some really serious challenges. We're talking data privacy, the chance that students get way too reliant on it, a whole bunch of stuff. Figuring out how to walk that line is going to be the whole ballgame.
Which, leads us perfectly into our next big topic. How do we stay safe and smart about all this? Because let's be real, with a tool this powerful, you can't just wing it. You need a solid game plan.
What I love is that the guide gives us really practical age-by-age breakdown. So, for the little ones, like in elementary school, it's all about introducing AI as a helpful little buddy and learning the basics of being a good digital citizen. Then, when they hit middle school, the conversation gets a little deeper. You start talking about things like data privacy and how to use it responsibly for homework. And by the time they're in high school, they're ready for the heavy stuff, tackling those big, complex questions about AI's impact on all of society.
And following those age guidelines brings us face-to-face with the big ethical questions that every single parent and teacher is going to run into. Stuff like, how do we make sure AI is being used to spark ideas, not just to copy and paste an essay? And how do we use it to help kids build skills instead of just letting the AI do all the work? The great thing is, the guide doesn't treat these as problems, but as really important conversations, perfect teachable moments.
But here's the bottom line, and the guide is super clear about this. The best safety tool isn't some app or filter you can install. It's you. It's the parents and the teachers. When you model how to use this stuff responsibly and keep that conversation going with your kids, that's what makes all the difference. That's the #1 factor in navigating this whole new world safely.
All right, so we've covered the safety rules, the ethics. Now let's get our hands dirty. Because the real magic of using generative AI isn't just knowing it's there. The real skill, it's all about knowing how to talk to it.
And this example just nails it. Look at the difference. A lazy, vague prompt like, tell me about the water cycle, gets you a lazy, vague answer. But a really effective prompt gives it context. Hey, explain this for a 4th grader, and it lays out exactly what you need. Tell me the stages, how it changes, why it's important. That right there is the secret sauce. The better your question, the better the answer you're going to get. It's that simple.
So what are the actual tools you should have in your back pocket? Well, the guide zeroes in on 3 of the biggest names out there right now.
Let's do a quick rundown. You've got ChatGPT, which is kind of your all-around powerhouse for generating human-like text on pretty much any topic. Then there's Claude, which is designed to be more of a conversational assistant, really good for detailed back and forth. And then there's Google's Gemini, and its superpower is its ability to create visuals, illustrations, charts to help explain things. Super handy.
Okay, let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture. What does all of this mean for the future of learning? I mean, how do we get students ready to succeed in a world where AI is just everywhere? Well, the guide points to some major shifts on the horizon. We're talking about a future with totally personalized learning journeys for every single student. Education is probably going to get a lot more focused on real-world skills for the jobs of tomorrow. And this idea of lifelong learning, it's not just a buzzword anymore. It's becoming essential for everyone to keep adapting.
And that brings us full circle, right back to where we began. The author wraps it up by reminding us that even though the tools are changing like crazy, the fundamental point of education hasn't changed at all.
AI, just like that calculator from his trig class, is ultimately just a tool to help us achieve those timeless goals, sparking curiosity, teaching critical thinking, and fostering a genuine love of learning. So in the end, the guide leaves us with this really powerful question to chew on. It's basically a call to action for every parent, every teacher out there. It's asking us to really think hard about what kind of world we're preparing our kids for. What do they need to know to thrive in this new AI-powered future? A lot to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.